Good morning. Welcome to all our delegates to this landmark event. I mean, this is our signature event, GuruSpeak, and organized by the IIMC Alumni Association. IIMC, of course, now needs no introduction at all. It's the oldest institute of management, and today one of the finest institutes in the country, and it's made its mark in the international level as well. And with that, I'll request Mr. Bhatia to speak about the event.
A warm welcome to our delegates at the 14th edition of our knowledge workshop we call GuruSpeak. The quest for customer centricity is being brought to you by the IIM Calcutta Alumni Association. GuruSpeak is our association's annual signature event since 2004. It's an advanced knowledge workshop on contemporary topics conducted by global gurus. Today's guru, Professor Ajay Kohli, is from Georgia Tech, Atlanta. Professor Kohli is a PhD in marketing from the University of Pittsburgh. Professor Kohli has taught in top business schools and has won several awards, most notable among them being what Fortune calls the Marketing Hall of Fame and the David Shaitt Award in B2B marketing. I now give you Professor Ajay Kohli.
Good morning, everyone. I love it. I love it. I knew I'll get a good response from Kolkata crowd here. This is fantastic. I just want to say I'm thrilled to be back in Kolkata. I'm going to start off with a very general sort of idea of customer centricity. The big picture on customer centricity, one way to sort of think about customer centricity is, there's a very simple framework, or very, very simple way to think about how customer centric you might be. So the first part over here, level 1 customer centricity is sort of product focus, meaning you kind of say, my product has great features, my product is really good. So here we try to sell differentiated product features. So I might be selling drills, let's say. And I might go to a customer and say, look, my drills are really good. I use, stainless steel drill bits, so therefore buy my product. So that's level 1, where you're focusing on the differentiated product features of the that you're offering. Level 2 says, we're not going to focus on the features of the product. Instead, we're going to focus on the benefits that those features the benefits that those features bring to customers. So here, we're not talking about how good my stainless steel is or how well it's machined. Here, I talk about the benefit that the customer gets out of sharper drill bits and stainless steel. But if you think about this thing, both these levels are focusing first on insight. What have I got? I've got a product. I'm either selling the product's features or I'm selling the benefits that my product's features help me deliver to the customer. But that's an inside-out approach. In contrast, you take an outside-in approach, and then what happens? Well, I've got so you're at level 3. If you go to customers and find out from customers, hey, what kind of drills do you want? And the customer might say, well, your drills are pretty good, but they're very heavy. So when I have to drill a hole in the ceiling, my arm gets tired or whatever. So here's the customer telling me what benefits they want, and then I build a product around those benefits. So I ask the customer first, what kind of a product do you want? What benefits do you want? And then I sort of deliver on that. So that's an outside-in approach. I'm going to customers and coming back and asking, what do you want? Level 4 is also an outside approach, but here I sort of focus more on the whole customer experience, if you will. So it's not about the product alone. It's about what kind of an experience does a customer have in finding my product, in comparing my product with that of competition, in figuring out what will meet their needs better, in purchasing the product, in shipping the product into their house or procuring it, in using the product, and in disposing of, whatever the heck comes out of drilling holes, the waste and this, that, and the other. So it's the whole customer experience, and I go to customers and ask them, tell me what kind of an experience do you want? The customer, tell me what kind of problems do you have in buying my product, locating my product, purchasing it, paying invoices, using the product, getting the service done. Not about the product alone. Product is a big part of it, but it's not about the product alone. It's about the whole customer experience. And we'll talk more about that in the second half of this session. So it's about asking customers what kind of an end-to-end experience they would like, and then delivering that experience. So now let me pause and say, you be thinking about which level is your organization in. What I've described is simple. It's really, really simple idea. All that it says is, hey, find out from customers what kind of an experience they want and deliver it. But I want you to think about your organization. To what extent are you actually doing it? To what extent are you finding out from customers what kind of experience they want and actually deliver that experience better than your competitors? Keep that in mind, by the way. It's never absolute. It's always relative. How am I doing relative to competition? So that's kind of one way to sort of think about it. Okay, so in general, you can think about customer centricity, and this is where, again, I want you to focus on your organization and how it does on these issues, on these three. So a very simple way of thinking about customer centricity is the activities that an organization engages in. You can think about customer centricity as comprised of a firm doing three simple things. Simple but not easy. Three simple things. What are they? Number one, a customer-centric firm generates customer insights. So this first one over here. Number two, it disseminates insights within the organization. And then number three, responding to customer insights, meaning actually doing something with those insights. And that's where lots of companies fall flat on their faces. This is a great quote, and I want to emphasize this a lot. So your most unhappy customers are your greatest source of learning. So observation is the second way to sort of generate customer insight. Don't just go talk to them and ask them, but observe them in their natural habitat, if you will. And then the third thing that's going on a lot these days is A/B testing kind of stuff, where we are experimenting. So now we come to the second part, dissemination of customer insights that have been generated within the organization. And this is all about sharing it across functions, across different levels, and so forth. Yep. How many of us have heard of Ryanair? Oh, you have. Wonderful. So what do you think of Ryanair? Have you traveled Ryanair? No, you have not traveled Ryanair. Has anybody traveled Ryanair? Oh, okay, I love it. Okay, so what did you think of that experience when you traveled in Ryanair? Either of you? You didn't like it?
No, not at all.
What was not good?
Service was poor.
Service was poor?
There was delayed flight.
It was delayed.
There was no... I always have to book for extra luggage.
You have to pay for extra luggage.
Yeah. Anything and everything. No food. I love
food.
airlines food.
Yeah.
So everything was bad.
Everything was horrible. It was not on time.
Yeah, and also the airport is far away from the city.
The airport is far away from the city. You have to travel all the way there.
Never ever fly.
Okay. All right. Very cheap and terrible. Okay, very cheap. Okay, all right.
I wouldn't say it's cheap because like the tickets are cheap, of course, but then you have to add baggage. You have to do that web, sign-in thing, so that makes it expensive at the end.
At the end. So if you want to check a bag, you have to pay. If you want a seat assigned to you, you have to pay. If you want one of those bags, you have to pay. Okay, Durga.
I had booked a ticket once, but then later I found that to go to the airport, the flight was at an unearthly hour, so you have to take a cab, and the cab fare to the airport would have been, much more expensive than the return flight. So it was easier to just let the money go, rather than even bother to cancel.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, okay. That cheap. Okay, very good. So kind of the same idea. When you factor in all the things, it becomes very, very expensive. Okay. Let me ask you a quick, this is a fake quiz question, not fake, but no trick. Which is the airline today that has the greatest number of international flights? The answer is Ryanair, and they're growing the fastest. All right? We can think about customer centricity as customer intimacy, meaning delivering a great customer experience, customizing products, jumping up and down when the customer says do something different. That's one way to be customer-centric. Another way to be customer-centric is operational excellence, where the primary criteria that you were describing earlier, the primary criteria for purchase is price. And so I'm going to deliver the lowest price, and I'm being customer-centric by delivering lowest price. And same thing over here, product leadership. I don't deliver a great customer experience, but my products are awesome. Nobody can beat my products. That is customer centricity, because some customers want terrific products. So now you place your own businesses. Where are you on these axes? Are you at the very top on this thing and good enough on this dimension and good enough on that dimension? Or are you at fantastic products and good enough on price and good enough on intimacy? Or are you really customer intimate and good enough on this one and the other one? So that's kind of one way to sort of think about customer centricity, rather than it being all about jumping up and down anytime any customer says, give me something different. That's not customer centricity. So drivers of customer centricity. Here the question we are asking is, why is it that some firms are more customer-centric than other firms? What are the antecedents? What are the drivers of customer centricity? So when you, again, think about your own organization, I'll go through 4 factors and ask yourself, how do we stack up on these 4 factors? And this is, by the way, based on some research actually that I have done, which has been recognized quite a bit actually. So the first driver of customer centricity, I think I mentioned this earlier, is senior management. So let me just conclude by saying, what are the benefits of customer centricity? Well, number one, if you focus on the more attractive segments or segments that fit you, you're likely to make more money. If you are customer-centric, your target customers are likely to be happier and they'll buy more and all of that. And that gives you more profits. But here's the thing that we didn't anticipate in this research that we did. Okay, so now we're shifting into a second sort of theme. And I'm going to go a little bit quickly on this one compared to the first one. Customer experience management, I hope, we'll see. Customer experience management. So what is customer experience? It is the internal and subjective. Keep that point in mind. It is the internal and subjective response that customers have to any direct or indirect contact with a company. So think of we already talked about one, but think of a recent flying experience. Anyone have a delightful experience? Yes, Durga. Tell us about your delightful experience.
Well, sorry. I came back from Melbourne to Calcutta via Singapore on Singapore Airlines. Perfect in every way. Whether it's check-in, whether it's in-flight service, whether it's ground service, whether it's air hostesses, whether it's food, whether it is extra helpings of food, everything was perfect.
So was it sort of exactly what you expected?
Yes, because one has heard that Singapore Airlines is very good. I've last flown them about 12 years ago, so I have, it could have changed. But if anything, it was probably better.
So everything was really good. It was a delightful experience, all the way from inboard service to the food to the attention you got. Everything was terrific. And if anything, it was even better than you expected. Wonderful. So keep that in mind. It was even better than what she might have expected based on her experience with most airlines, and including what she heard about Singapore Airlines from other people. Yeah, very good. Okay. I love this quote by Jeff Bezos. The best customer service is if the customer doesn't need to call you, doesn't need to talk to you, it just works. Next segment, which is about customer centricity is all fine, but I need to make money. Yeah, so we just heard there's a trade-off between giving batteries away and making money. So I want to be customer centric. Yeah, all that is fine, but I'm in business to make money. And so if I'm creating value, then I have to be able to extract value for myself. Otherwise, what's the point? I'm not in charity, right? I don't want to give away value. I want to give value, but get money in exchange for that. All right, so customer value, one part is what benefits they gain. Second part has to do with what they lose. Can we get this thing to, here we go. Yeah, so second part is what they lose, and what they lose has to do with cost. Of course, it has to do with the price that they pay, but it's not the purchase price that matters. It's the total cost of ownership, as we know. It's not just the purchase price, it's the price of buying, it's the price of using, it's the cost of disposal, it's the cost of servicing. All those things come into play. So the second part is what they lose. And the third part is the one that we often tend to ignore, and we often tend not to get money for. So first two parts are fairly straightforward. But the third part, which is risk, and risk simply means this is a cost that the customer may or may not incur. And that probabilistic cost is what is really eats up customers. Nobody likes to take risks, especially in B2B, because their jobs are on the line. So IIM, for example, Nooka, what is it? Exactly, yeah, exactly. A space where people from different backgrounds can come together and provide enough whiteboard space so that people can write things out, post-it notes, throw any number of ideas there. It's an ideation sort of space. And the other thing is start from ground zero, meaning imagine that your current touch points don't exist and you wanted to design a fabulous customer experience. What would that look like? And then you begin to sort of say, okay, what can I do? What can't I do? Do we have a tough negotiator here who wants to drive pricing? All right, Monica, please come. Our seller is right here. Your job is to get her to the reverse auction or give you a break in price. That's your job. 20% reduction is what you want. Is you've seen the value you're offering them. Your job is to get the value out of this guy here. All right, go for it.
I agree to the reverse auction.
You agree to the reverse?
Yes, you just put
Ma'am,
four things in your tender terms and then do the reverse auction. And I am ready to give you the best price, okay? I just want in your tender terms to have energy consumption norms, maintenance cost norms, replacement cost norms, and a guarantee on machine failure. It's all good for you, right? I can guarantee you that if you put the norms which are good for your own self in your tender terms, I would be L1 because the others won't be able to even bid.
Okay, all right, let's give them a big hand. Yeah. How did our purchasing guy do, John Elliott? Yeah? A tough guy. Yeah. But he lost a good opportunity at the end, yeah. Because he was fixated on the reverse auction as opposed to saving money. How did our the supplier side team do? You know, Monica and because it didn't culminate in a sale. Yep. So this thing was a lose-lose for everybody. Yeah. So the first principle of selling is listening.
Yeah.
This is sounds kind of funny. We think selling is all about telling the buyers how well off they will be with me. Buyers know that game. The first principle of selling is listening. So here I want to talk a little bit about something that's become quite popular actually. And this is about delivering end-to-end customer solutions. And primarily, I'm going to talk about this in the B2B context rather than B2C. A lot of interest in these solutions these days. So for example, we talk about IT solutions. So what is a solution? You talk about IT solutions where you have some hardware, you have some operating software, some application software, and some training services. So think of these as the components of a solution, and these components are integrated with each other. These lines over there, they are supposed to reflect the integration of these products with each other. In other words, the operating software should be compatible with the hardware, the application software should be compatible with the operating software and with the hardware, the training services should be about the application software, operating, and so on. So these things have to interoperate. That's the key idea of a solution. So if you think about solution, as customers look at it, we can think about a solution as a set of what I like to call relational processes. And what are these relational processes? Well, 4 key things that are represented over here. Simple words, you can think about a solution as 4 processes. First process, defining the requirements of the customer. Second one has to do with customization and integration. Third thing, deployment. And last but not the least, post-deployment support. These are the 4 processes. All right, folks. So this is kind of where we end. Are there any questions?
So we talked about solutions, and we've also seen that a lot of business models are moving towards the sharing economy.
Yeah.
So solutions in the context of the sharing economy is actually much more complicated. Do you have some thoughts about that?
No, actually, I have not thought about solution in the context of the sharing economy, and actually, I don't even know what that means. Actually, yeah, no. Is there
For example, Uber.
Yeah.
Is part of the sharing, but the moment you have the sharing, it's very difficult to customize. The solutions involve customizing for individual customers. So I wanted to know whether it's anybody who's doing that well, or
Yeah. So those kinds of things, I would call them a single product solution. It's basically one experience. Unless. Oh, I see. I see. Okay.
Okay. Any more comments, questions, anyone?
Thank you. So,
But
thank you, guys. This has been a great pleasure for me. I hope this was useful.
one request, we need to have a formal vote of thanks, and I'm going to request Honor Mitra to do the honors.
Yeah, thank you. On behalf of IIM Calcutta Alumni Association, I, Honor Mitra Chatterjee, Treasurer, express my sincere gratitude. IIM Calcutta Alumni Association Chairman G.M. Kapoor, Vice Chairman Nomit Roy, Secretary Abraham Stephanos, for IIM Calcutta, the Director, and the 2 Deans. We are very grateful for our main sponsors, Exide, the Telegraph, the Tata Group comprising of Tata Steel, Titan, Tata Steel Processing Distribution Limited, TSPDL, Century Ply. Thank you once again, Professor Kohli.
I'm going to request our President to end with gifting an Uttariyo to Professor Kohli. Sandeep. Come.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. Lovely. Pleasure.
Here's a small, another token, a book on IIM Calcutta. Thank you. You've been a wonderful audience, and we look forward to our next session with another guru. Till then, thank you very much.